Right, so what we have here is a 1964 XL1A. These were made by a company called Jaggi Dresden, I believe, something like that. And essentially, they're made in East Germany. The original models were made in Dresden, and then later on in the 70s, I believe, from 1971 onwards. They were made in Eastern Europe, but these aren't considered the original or canon, I guess, compared to the rest of the models and the rest of the Dresden models, really. But the build quality is incredible, really, of this camera. However, it can be a bit of a pain to use, and I will show you that. It comes standard with this Carl Zeiss Jena DDR Double Deutsch Republic lens. It's a 50mm and it's very sharp actually. I do like it a lot. The Jaggi mount didn't change from the 1940s really. Not that that really matters. It means it got more lenses. So interestingly, it doesn't really work like a normal SLR. So as you can see, I'm sort of looking through the viewfinder here, but as you can see, I've had to advance the film winder just to see through the SLR component. If I press the shutter, you can't see the mirror of the camera, and it's due to the way the shutter works really, and it's like this on all, I believe, all early Exacta cameras. I don't know about the later ones. I have two of them really. It has this interesting shutter lock feature which also works as the film rewind as well, along with this button. And you have to make sure this is on the red spot if you want to take images with it. Shutter speed is quite limiting actually on this camera. The maximum shutter speed is 1/75 of a second, and it does have bulb, also 30th a second, 60th and 125. But if you're just taking scenery photos or street photography, it has what you need really. Like I said, it's built like a tank really. It's a very tough thing. You do have to this does ascend backwards, and it's like this on a lot of cameras, a lot of East German cameras of the time really. And they're just like this really. They're built like clockwork. So essentially, the shutter rewind, when you put the film in a camera, you dial in what number the exposures are. It's almost like a bulk loader in a sense, and it counts down the frames rather than having a frame counter in there. Okay, so I've rearranged it a bit for the camera, but what we have here is what's called the loupe and the bellow lens. And essentially these are for macro photography, scientific basically. So this is an optional viewfinder for basically like spot photography when you're doing close-up macro photography. And you can get, another thing about these cameras as well is you can get different ground glass and everything. Jaggi Dresden basically perfected that, and this is very, it's not the most advanced bellow lens in the world, but it is very sharp when you do use it. These are both sort of in box, but the box on this has felt pieces. Note the price on the side. 7 in 4. But yeah, I'll assemble it and then take some macro photos and kent me a pan. So I currently have the waist level finder, and this just comes off with this button here. It just slots off. I'll probably take this off when I'm not filming, but it just lifts off like that. And you can swap the ground glass out with your fingernail. I'll just take that out. Yeah, like this, and then the ground glass, I think I've just got the stock one that came with the camera. It is in very good condition, is this camera. It's mostly just been kept in its case for a very long time. On a side note, I bought this on Live Auctioneers, like an auction website, for 30 quid with a Exacta 2, which isn't working but still, and a Pentax ME Super and a Kershaw Penguin and a few light meters which are sold, but for 30 quid, which is quite a deal really when you think about it. But anyways, yeah, this just slots out, and I only have one ground glass for the Exacta, but I only really need one bit of ground glass really. It's in like that. So this just attaches on here with the normal lens mount, and this just attaches on here like that. And these just have the average, same old lens mount really. If it'll focus, and it basically lengthens the focal length, and you can lengthen this. There are more advanced bellow lenses, but this does work very well, and I've had pretty interesting pictures from it. As you can see, it's assembled now. It's a pretty interesting artifact really from the era. It does work quite nicely. It's quite big really, actually. It works best on a tripod. You probably won't see through the viewfinder very well on here. But one interesting thing is it does make basically any normal lens into a macro lens, really, by lengthening the distance. Yes, it's relatively interesting, really. I'm not much of a macro photographer, more of a street and transport photographer, really, but it's a really interesting artifact. I couldn't resist buying it on eBay, I must admit. You can't take the back off the camera while we have these bellow lenses in either. But I do also think so if you are changing films or whatever, you will want to take the camera off. But it isn't too much of a hassle. The Exacta lens mount is very easy and straightforward. For changing films, there's just a slot in the bottom, and you can take the entire back off the camera, and it just twists towards the red dot. It's like this on a lot of Jaggi Dresden cameras. It has this interesting sort of mechanism for sliding the film in, really. And you just have to slot the film in gently. I'll show you. It's quite hard to do it while I'm filming. I won't normally do it like this, but it is what it is. So it very neatly fits in there. Like I said, I wouldn't normally do it like this way, but it's just the way it is. And the film goes across there, and it slots in a little gap in this film spool that actually comes out, and it just slots in a little gap there. Kind of like that, as you can see. The thing is, the film, you can really feel the weight of the film on your advance lever. You also have to make sure that this isn't locked either, otherwise you won't be getting any images, and it's happened to me before. Make sure also the shutter is correct. Rewinding the film, you hold this button down, advance this lever to the red, and then rewind this clockwise, and it's pretty straightforward really. It is a pretty simple camera, but it does produce very sharp images.